Black Ops Cold War Zombies may very well be an open world free roam mode. Now before you click off the video, hear me out. There's a couple of thoughts that back this up. Hello everybody, I go by Sir Galahad, welcome back to the roundtable, and today we're going to discuss this topic of this potential transformation of what we know as zombies as a mode. If you're paying attention in the zombies community, you'll remember about a year ago, Milo, MrRoflWaffles, made a video before his hiatus about how he had a discussion with the devs back in 2016 about expanding the mode. In that video, which will be linked in the description, he talks about how the Black Ops 3 campaign was almost an open world campaign. He says in the video, this is not particularly new knowledge, we've known about this for a while, but they had to cram it back down into a linear campaign due to time constraints. In that same conversation, they talked about the zombies mode, and the advice that was given to him was, be open about the future. Milo even talks about it in that video about how we take rounds in zombies for granted. And I think he was really onto something because I had a thought recently that may blow this whole thing out of the water. During the Black Ops Cold War multiplayer reveal, we got a tease for zombies that a lot of people seem to think is a remastered Transit. It's rumored to be a dark ether version of Green Run. From the knocked stairs that you see to what seems to be the power room, normally where the Avogadro spawns, half of the community seems to think, no, that's not the power room, it's shaped differently, it's much bigger, and the other half seems to think that it definitely is. The rumors are certainly circulating that it is a dark ether remaster of Transit, and I think, yes, but in a different way than we may think. If you look at Transit and you ignore the rounds and the wave-based aspect of it, it really could fit as an open world mode. So let's break it down. In the first bit of the teaser, we see the knocked staircase, presumably the one from the cornfield in Transit. I say presumably that one because that way it fits in with this theory, and it makes the most sense. While in Transit, you weren't exactly allowed to go up those stairs, you have the arrow pointing upward, plus it looks like there's a buyable door to remove the debris at the top of the stairs. The next thing we see is an underground room, presumably a bunker, with an atomic bomb hanging from chains from the ceiling. This is not very important now, but I will touch back on this later when I flesh out the whole idea. And then we get to the room that everybody thinks is the Transit power room, and there's already a horde in that room. And then of course we get swiped by a zombie and the teaser ends. But let's back it up for a second. Why are these zombies just sitting here doing nothing? We walked up on them like this. Normally when you play zombies, you being on the map attracts the zombies to you. But these guys are just standing here, doing nothing. Where is the only other place that we have seen docile zombies before? If you thought Transit, you'd be right. As soon as you spawn into Green Run, in the bus station, you are surrounded by docile zombies. Until this new teaser, that is the only point where you could be around zombies and them not actively attack you. Of course, that would happen if you threw an EMP or a monkey bomb, but they're doing this of their own accord. Then, talking about the room with the bomb and the presumed power room, I have this to say. It may not be a Transit remaster, it could very well be a Transit reimagining. If they really are making this drastic of a change with Transit by removing rounds and making it non-linear and open world, there's a pretty high chance that they're gonna have to add some stuff. Now, granted, Transit is big, but this is 2 generations of consoles later. If you took out the fog and the denizens from Transit, yes, it would still be a ginormous map. But realistically, it's smaller than you think because all of the isolated areas are the really only playable spots on the map. The parts in between are just traversal. Normally, you would be on a bus in dense fog and not interacting with that space anyway. Apart from the cornfield and maybe a few other places, you mainly stick to the spots on the map where the bus stops. In this new Transit reimagined for the dark ether, there could be new rooms and new locations. Take away the fog and the opportunities are endless. So as for the bomb, maybe there's just another bunker that we haven't been before that will be new in the reimagined version of the Dark Ether Transit, where they have and are working on bombs. And as for the power room, it very well could be the power room, just a new version of it for the Dark Ether. It's similar enough for us to draw the comparison, but just different enough for it to be fresh. And so you may be asking, well, if the rounds are going away, how are we supposed to play this mode? I have that answer too, don't worry, I got you. So if Zombies is moving to an open world world style of mode. The way you would go about playing it would definitely change. How I see it happening is you would spawn in the same way you would spawn in at normal transit. You would start the map from a central location already surrounded by docile zombies. Granted, not very many since you have only just started. You do the normal starting of the map things, you know, knife zombies for points and yada yada, but the catch is you could just leave those zombies there and move on to the next location. For instance, say you spawn in on transit and you don't interact with any of the zombies at all. You get on the bus and you go to diner. There will be a new set of zombies already there waiting for you, but stronger. And that's kind of how I see this whole mode. Every location you go to will have its own difficulty, maybe with smarter zombies, maybe with stronger zombies. Some locations will definitely be harder than others. How you would play, you would go to an area, clear the area of zombies, and then you would have as much time as you needed to work on the Easter egg steps. And in the same fashion, more difficult areas will have trickier Easter egg steps. This way, you will never have to worry about holding a zombie or a crawler. You get to spend as much time as you want in that space figuring out the step. And then you would move to the next place, clear it, solve it, and so forth. Another thing I should mention is we know that perks will be returning. We hear the Juggernaut jingle in the teaser. Now, if the mode is going to a free roam style, what would be the need for perks? Well, they would still come into effect as some of the areas on the map would be particularly difficult. If Jug is back, presumably all the classic perks are back too, such as Quick Revive and Speed Cola and Stamina Up and Mule Cake, and you get the idea. These perks would still have a place in regular gameplay. You would still need that little bit of an upper hand, but not from the exponentially increasing strength of the zombies, from the exponentially increasing difficulty of the environment, if that makes sense. Talking about the Easter egg, if it's a free roam mode, how would that work? At least the way I envision it, having an active Easter egg on the map would give it a little bit of a linear path. You have steps to complete before you solve it, and by the very nature of steps, there is a linear path through to the end. Which is normal, you know, you need a narrative. So yes, you would have your main Easter egg, but I think the open world aspect absolutely blows the gate off the hinges for side Easter eggs. Think about all the ciphers and the picture scraps and the radios and maybe some new thing that we haven't even thought about yet that would expand the narrative of the mode so much more. The map as a whole may be free roam, yes, but the areas you go to will be dictated by the steps of the egg. Some areas will definitely be harder than others, maybe more dense with zombies, smarter zombies, more cramped and close quarters spaces, trickier puzzles, that kind of thing. Also, just to throw this out there, I'm sure they will include a wave-based version of this just for fun for the players, like they did with the difficulty settings in Black Ops 4 Zombies. The possibilities are literally endless with the stuff they can do without the restriction of rounds. If this goes in any way like I predict, this will be huge for the Zombies community. Overhauling the mode like this is something that Zombies has been desperately needing. They tried to change it up with Black Ops 4 and the new perk system and all that. They knew the mode needed to be changed, but the changes they made didn't exactly bring about the desired effect. There were some positives to it, but by and large, the community didn't really enjoy the changes. On top of all the other unfortunate events that happened with Black Ops 4 Zombies, the rushed development cycle, the unstable launch, and the seemingly hurried end to the Ether storyline. All of it felt kind of half-hearted, but again, that's not really any one person's fault. The devs were being worked to the bone, and they were trying to juggle the narrative of two stories at once, among other things. It's hard to say where the narrative will go from here, but if it is a dark Ether, it does sound appealing, to me at least. I preferred the Ether story to the Chaos story, but that's just my opinion. If they do go with a dark Ether, they could tell another side story that we may not have heard before. Keeping with the fan favorite of the two, I think is a good idea. A little side note here at the end. Getting the gameplay for this video, I played Transit for 2.5 hours probably, and I had nothing but fun the whole time. I know we all look back on Transit as one of the goofier maps, and maps that generally aren't well liked, but I had a great time. It played really well, much better than I remember, which makes me really hopeful for the future if I'm actually right about this. That about wraps this video up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you have something to add to this theory, please definitely tell me in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Keep checking back for more Black Ops Cold War content, and I will see you guys in the next video.